Do the trashy pulp novels of the world have anything to offer? Are bestsellers all they're cracked up to be? Here at Terrible Book Club, we explore whether you really can judge a book by its cover, or its ridiculous synopsis. You ever passed a book and thought, ugh, who's reading this? We probably are.
Hello and welcome to episode 143 of the Terrible Book Club. I'm Paris, and I forgot to say this is Chris.
It's just you now. No, never mind. You
No,
can do the whole
it's just
episode.
me.
That's fine.
It's just me
No,
now.
I'll see you later. Actually, it's hot in here. You can totally.
I'm
Chris, by the way.
Yeah, I'm a heat deranged Paris, and this is Chris.
I'm also heat deranged.
You know what?
Prepare yourselves.
You know what's gonna fix that? Cracking open this beer. So that's what I'm doing. This is definitely a beer drinking recording episode day. We're recording 2 episodes back to back, and it's summer, so that means we're really hot and sad because we can't turn on the AC or the fans. So it's beer.
That's how you like us, hot and sad. I think that's how people like their goths too.
I mean, that tracks for this show. I don't think I would call myself a goth, but I have fairly goth tendencies, I believe.
We've discussed this, Paris. You're business goth.
Right, business goth. I'm a metalhead, but those lines, they overlap. Anyhow, for this episode, we read So I'm a Spider, So What? Volume 7 by Okina Baba.
You got a problem with me being a spider? Do you have an issue with my 8 legs? So what?
Somebody does. I don't know. Anyway, this book was requested by one of our anonymous patrons. They asked us to choose a light novel, which is a genre of books from Japan that seem to mean like anime-like or based on an actual anime or manga, but instead you get like the classic kind of text form of a novel. This book, in fact, has an accompanying anime and manga. These books are referred to as light novels since they're sort of the Japanese version of like a pulp or a beach read, in kind of the like Western way. Also, we got volume 7 instead of 1 because we confused the 7 for a 1 on the cover. So what? What are you gonna do about it? What are you gonna do about it?
You gonna? I'm a spider. I read volume 7. What are you gonna do?
We don't know our 7s from our 1s. So what? That was actually my mistake. I literally.
So I'm math illiterate. So what?
Yeah. I have numerical insanity. What are you gonna do? No, seriously. Sorry, we shouldn't joke about that. Numerical dyslexia is the thing. Anyway. All right. If this is your first time listening to the show, this is probably a bad episode to start with because we are
I disagree.
Heat deranged and not doing.
No, that's perfect. That's great.
But anyway, what we normally do here at the Terrible Book Club when we are less hot and more of sound mind is we read books that we assume will be bad based on their cover, title, summary, or some combination of the 3. In addition to that, sometimes, like today, we read books that our patrons, listeners, or friends recommend. So we typically do the opposite of what most people do in a bookstore while they're browsing the internet to read, and we also do the opposite of most like book review shows by reading things we think we won't like. And usually this experiment results in a disappointing and hilarious read, but, once in a while, we end up liking the book. And it's a nice surprise. Let's see.
May I add that we read the whole thing, which is unique, I find, in terms of bad book podcasts.
Yeah, that's true. There are a lot of book podcasts out there that will sort of
tap out.
Yeah, they kind of just like either they don't read the book at all, they just kind of like make a judgment based on what other people have said about a book, or they read, a few pages or like a few chapters and then they sort of base a review on that, which is really weird. I mean, I get it. Like,
we're here to suffer with you.
Yeah, it's a big commitment, to read a whole book and do an episode every 2 weeks. But Chris and I have a system that's been working for us. Anyway, content warnings for today's episode. In addition to our usual barnyard language, today's episode includes discussion or mention of just some cartoon violence and some weapons. So nothing crazy today.
Real Looney Tunes style content warning
yes,
here
very
today.
Looney Tunes style, like absurd, like video game cartoon levels of violence. Okay, so usually before we get into the actual review, we give you the back of the book summary, so you kind of know like what the book was going for. Then we tell you a little bit about the characters and setting, and then we give our summary, which is like a plot point kind of read through, so you understand in general what the book was about before we actually, give a critique of it. All right, so our back of the book summary for So I'm a Spider, So What? Volume 7 is... Seriously? What genre is this? So get this. Me, the Demon Lord, the baby bloodsucker Mira, and the puppet posse are on our way to the demon territory when Mira falls into a hole and gets attacked by giant ants. We wipe him out in no time, but the commotion, and totally not me sticking my nose where it doesn't belong, just happens to wake up some ancient, hyper-advanced killing machines, and now the entire planet is going to be destroyed. It's such a big deal that Ghoulie Ghoulie the Pontiff and even Potimus are teaming up with the Demon Lord. Oh, wait, when did they get all so chummy? I'm sorry, what? They want me to take out the main weapon? No way!
All right.
read in the actual voice of the main character that I had in my mind.
Okay. So I'm going to talk about the characters and setting and then read the summary that we wrote so you have a general idea of what happened in the book so we don't have to keep going back and recapping a plot point when we are trying to talk about something else. So the characters and setting here, we're going to have a lot of fun here, Paris, where you and I disagree on how to pronounce character names based on what you said 10 seconds ago or already.
Okay.
But we start with a very simple one. White, the titular spider. So what? You got a problem that her name is White? It's like a spider girl. It's like real Quaalag stuff happening over here.
See, I always want to say K-Log.
It's Quaalag.
I know
K-Log is like the Spanish version.
Quaalag sounds so stupid, but I know that's how everyone pronounces her name.
Okay. Anyway, we got Lady Ariel, the Demon Lord, who we're supposed to have known from previous books, volumes 1 through 6, I'm sure. She was just sort of some lady for me, and that's how I perceived her. Then you have Vampy and Mera, a baby and older vampire. Kept referring to them as vampires. Didn't really do vampy shit, despite one of them being called Vampy.
They were barely in this book, so you can just forget about them, actually, right now.
Sure. Then we've got Ale, Sail, Reel, and Feel, the puppet spiders, who are small spiders that wrap themselves in thread to look like small anime girls, because of fucking course. And the anime girls are like the puppets that they put around them for like armor or something, They want to look pretty, I guess.
I think they're sort of made to look just like White, right? Aren't they like girl and spider?
No, there was illustrations in the book that you saw. Some of them were like just Paris. Just fair warning for you: if anything in an anime or anime-related material says like they look kind of like a lady, it's just a full anime girl.
Okay. I should know better by now. Thank you for being so generous with me, Chris, and always having to explain anime shit to me.
That's all right. I've got a present for you later on in that vein.
Uh-oh, I'm scared.
All right, it's Potimus, the Elf Lord, Paris. What is this Potimus?
Potimus.
It's Potty Mass, actually.
It's Potty Mass.
Speaking of mass, we also have Dustin, the Pontiff of the Word of God. His name's just Dustin. He's the Pope of the biggest religion.
That made me laugh really hard when I just read the Great Pontiff of the Word of God religion, Dustin. I was like, what?
We've got Ghoulie Ghoulie, the admin dragon god. So, I think the world is a video game because apparently it was that light novel conceit of, there was a bunch of people in the real world and they were all in a class together and they died in a bus accident and they all woke up in the fantasy video game world that this is in.
Wait, is that really?
That really? Yes, I read that in the Volume 1 summary.
Okay. Thank you.
That's kind of the thing I think with a lot of light novels. It's always like a person from Earth dies and is resurrected in a new world or something.
Which, like, I get, because at least then they don't have to worry about the trappings of regular Earth. So.
Anyway, Ghoulie Ghoulie here is a dragon god in human form with black armor or something, which is just like, what's his face from Malazan? What was it, Animander Rake?
Yeah, I was like, what is
just
up with
Animander Rake.
I mean, Animander Rake was already pretty anime. I actually remember...
I mean, he really was.
When I first... So that's in the first Malazan book. Or, actually, a very nice man from... what band was he in? Oh my god, now I don't remember. I'm so sorry, nice man. When I was at Stormbringer Metal Fest that happened in Worcester like a month ago. And I was talking to this guy, Schmitty, who's I think a literature professor in, I want to say,
Schmitty, the
Illinois.
literature professor? Okay.
Oh, right. I think his first name is something else, but that's what he goes by.
Okay.
I think, anyway. Now I'm like, oh no. And he was
like... Professor Schmitty, so what?
So anyway, I'm like, someone's like, hey, you should talk to him about books. And I was like, all right, so we're talking about books. And he's like, oh, you should talk to I forget if it was his friend or his guitarist or drummer or someone in his God, now I feel terrible. I don't remember. But he calls over this other guy and he's like, tell her about Malazan. He's like, oh yeah, it's pronounced Malazan. And I was like, what? And he was like, yeah, they're from the Isle of Malaz. And I was like, oh my God, you're right. And so we, no, I mean, yes, very obviously. And so he was like, yeah, I also was blown away when someone told me that. And I was like, God damn it, it's Malazan. But I was like, but I'm not going to be able to stop saying Malazan.
No, it's Malazan. It's not Lozenge Land. That's not your fantasy land name. I refuse.
No, the Isle
Lozenge.
The Isle of Malaz, though. Like, that makes sense.
Yeah, the Isle of Malaz. That's what it is.
No. So anyway, I was like, wow, I feel intensely stupid. Thank you for enlightening me, sir. I now seem to have forgotten every other detail about this interaction. I'm really sorry, right. But thank you, people.
Paris, hot take. It doesn't fucking matter what you pronounce fantasy names as. You can do whatever you want.
I don't think I agree with you, but let's move on.
Okay, yeah, we'll be in those weeds forever if we start that up. All right, the only last character here is D, God of Death. Turns out Antiques Freaks also moonlights on the side as gods. And D is a god of death.
Yeah, I could not help imagining the god of death as D. I just...
what the name was, so
yeah,
same.
There was... Well, and D is just... I mean, if one day D is like, Paris, we've been friends for 20 years, but... I'm actually the god of death. I'd be like, oh yeah, that totally makes sense. Sick. Like, it just totally tracks.
Mm-hmm. All right. Basically, D in this story is the opposite of a Deus Ex Machina plot contrivance in that it just sort of takes Ghoulie Ghoulie out of the plot for like a couple chapters so the writer doesn't have to worry about having an all-powerful admin god dragon around. Okay, anyway. Here is the summary that we wrote for you guys. And I'll be taking care of this one. Paris wrote this one, so I'll be reading. Here we go. We begin on the road with our party of adventurers. Our main heroine, Lady White, an extremely powerful and nearly immortal half-spider woman who is traveling with the Demon Lord, her 4 spider helpers, Ale, Sail, Reel, and Feel, the vampire Mera, and a second toddler vampire named Sophia, or Vampire. Lady White often ruminates on her truce with the Demon Lord, knowing that it may be temporary, and worries that the Demon Lord may turn on her, even though Lady White really likes her. The group is working together to avoid the Mecha Lord of the Elves, Otimus, who wields 21st century technology using drones, guns, etc., whereas the rest of them utilize your average medieval magic D&D/anime stuff and weaponry. We learn that this discrepancy stems from this world having devolved, where only the elves preserve the more advanced technology of the future past. This is not Earth, although it seems Lady White may have come from Earth. Yes, indeed she did, because she was in like a school bus accident.
Yes, which we wouldn't know unless we read this.
Yes. Lady White, the Demon Lord, and the 4 spider helpers are all extremely overpowered and face no real resistance on their journey until they find an underground bunker with future past tech weaponry. They fight off a bunch of robots and tanks and then barely escape an enormous fire that is so fast-moving, hot, and large that it is likened to a solar flare. A giant UFO immediately flies out of the underground bunker following the fire. The Demon Lord determines that they must summon the most powerful being in the world, the admin super dragon Ghoulie Ghoulie, to destroy the UFO since they can't for reasons. The Super Dragon admin arrives, and then with him, the rest of the very powerful figures in this world appear, including Patimus. Oh, now I'm saying it like you.
Yeah, that's because it's how you say it.
No, it's not. Patimus reveals that he designed the UFO, the world-ending GMA bomb within it. It's packed with Good Morning America.
No, it's it was the grandma bomb to me. That's
even better, actually.
That's what I kept thinking about.
Anyway, there's grandma bomb in there, and a companion weapon called the G-Meteor, but supposedly never thought anyone would actually build them. The UFO is also full of both a giant army of robot soldiers and fighter jets.
Yes, all of those things. Keep that in mind.
So, enemies and friends alike team up in a 3-part air and land battle to save the world. The Super Dragon admin takes on the G-Meteor alone. Other allies fight a land battle with the robot army, and White/Demon Lord/Spider Helper/Patimus/some dragons fight the UFO and jets themselves. Lady White gets literally blown apart by the bazooka Patimus gave her, but is never in any real danger due to being OP. Meanwhile, we get expositional dialogue between the two vampires who aren't even in the story at all. From this, we learn that civilization devolved because Patimus convinced everyone to use MA energy, that strong Massachusetts energy.
Yeah, mass energy.
So what? I'm using all the mass energy.
Drink your fucking Dunkin', man.
The life force of the planet is Dunkin' energy as a primary energy source, which killed the planet because you stole all the iced coffee, you son of a bitch. Since that's not evil enough, we discovered during the land battle that Patimus' machines and his army are actually powered by live human brains, but it doesn't matter. Who cares? Because no one does anything about it. Lady White uses a magical scythe that she recently made, and in the heat of battle realized that it is much more powerful than she knew, and more powerful than the Demon Lord or Patimus' magical powers. Shortly thereafter, we learn that Lady White is the favorite of D, the ultimate god of all gods, god of death, which explains why her scythe is suddenly extraordinarily powerful. D has also just told the admin Super Dragon to not interfere because it's more amusing to make them solve their problems themselves. Lady White, Demon Lord, and Patimus make it to the Grandma Bomb, which turns out to be housed inside a super weapon which is also a design copied from Patimus. Since they don't want to cause the bomb to explode, they decide hacking is the way to disable the super weapon bomb. Patimus carries out the hack successfully and then double-crosses White and Demon Lord by shooting him. Demon Lord tries to protect White but gets seriously hurt, so White must fight Patimus. She easily slices him in half, but he's still alive because he's a cyborg, so it doesn't matter. Turns out the bomb wasn't disarmed when she also sliced that robot in half too. So White eats it and tries to digest it before it explodes. Flawless plan. She then achieves divinity for doing this. However, divinity is almost a total reset whereby White is no longer connected to the system and must learn magic all over again organically rather than just leveling up through the system. Patimus hatches a plot to pit his reincarnated daughter against White since they knew each other in a previous life and it would be painful to make them fight or something. The end. So what?
Yeah, I actually feel like the name of this series is just how I felt reading this.
You know, when I was scrolling through all the light novels that were available to us, I picked this one based on the pretty funny title. I showed it to you and you were like, yeah, that sounds funny. Let's go for it. And then it wasn't.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you for reading that summary for us, Chris. Let's talk about a couple of the things that were good. So, it seemed to have been translated and edited decently. I mean, it does repeat itself a lot, so I don't know if it was, like, edited closely for content, but the sentences function, I can understand what's going on, and, I get that the author was going for peak teenage girl brain, so I understand that the flavor of the text was intentional, and they stuck to it. I think it seems like that was their intention, and it worked for that intention. Shout out to the translators, though, for real. Fucking, that shit seems hard, especially translating Japanese or, any non romance language into English. Good God, that seems really hard. I don't know how people do this. I hope this person was paid well. Yeah. So that's that.
Really liked MA Energy. I don't know what it stands for. I don't know what that acronym is about, so I had to just roll with the fact that it's definitely Massachusetts Energy.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Duncan or sports-fueled rage for sure is mass energy. Like,
just everyone's the combined rage of Tom Brady not playing for the Patriots anymore. What are we going to do? Has powered this medieval world from beyond dimensions.
Well, it's like, you drink too many ices and you just get really amped up. And
like,
then,
I'm so ready to go. I've got all the magic powers.
And then the Bruins fucking miss a goal. And, then you're like, that rage really flows into the soil of Massachusetts. And beneath the soil is that rich MA energy.
Waiting to be harvested is why the crops grow so well over here. They're fueled by iced. Donkeys iced. It's good for your crops.
Oh, yeah. Anyway, yeah, they never explain what MA energy is. This is another thing that I assume we're supposed to know from previous novels. It's described as the life force of the planet, and the more you use it, the closer the planet comes to destruction, which just sounds like fossil fuels to me.
Classic anime planet life force stuff. Final Fantasy VII had all that shit in there. There's a bunch of other animes that had that shit in there, too.
Yeah, which, ultimately makes it...
What do you think MA stands for? What do you think it's supposed to stand for?
Like mass acceleration? I don't know. Like...
I'm going to go with magic asshole.
Yes, sure. I mean, we're not given an explanation, so it could be. Yeah.
Might be anime. Maybe anime. That's what it is. It's mega anime. No, it's mega anime energy. It's just pure distilled anime energy that is powering this world. That makes
what
the
if
most
it's
sense
manga
to me.
anime energy?
Oh, there. You know what? You've done it.
I cracked
You've solved it.
Cracked it.
That's now canon for all Swama Spider So What volumes, we've decided.
I don't have any other things that were good about this book. I've come to the end of my list, Chris. I don't know if you have anything else.
I think we just agreed on this, so maybe this is the segue into the things that were bad for us, but there's a wind dragon that pops up as sort of a leader of dragons, and there's a part where it's not very funny that we'll get to in a minute, but the one funny joke in this whole thing is that there is the concept of the grunt accent, which I like that part, like the fact that they are conceiving of a specific grunt accent I found funny, not what they do with the grunt accent.
So I was actually confused by your note here. I didn't pick up on that. It may have just been the intense skimming that I did.
Yeah.
But like, do you mean grunt as in the vocalization, like a
no,
or like a
henchman.
worker grunt? Okay.
Yes.
Oh,
like a henchman. Like this is the henchman accent. It exists. And, I mean, a lot of this book, all of the humor revolves around, like, oh, that's not what this type of person is supposed to act like. They're not fulfilling their stereotypical role. Isn't that funny? So the joke is in the book is supposed to be, this dragon doesn't sound regal and dragon-like. He sounds like some grunt, like a henchman, because he's basically just like NYC... generic mob dude or something like that. So it's not the fact that they did the accent. It's just that in White's head, she thinks there is a specific grunt accent that I found stupidly funny.
I see what you mean. Yeah.
And she couldn't get around the fact that, oh my god, the dragon has a grunt accent.
Yeah,
which is stupid.
It doesn't really work for me either. It's like... maybe we should just talk a little bit more about why sort of the parts that are supposed to be funny didn't work for us. You pretty much said it. It's because it's all based on, oh no, we're subverting stereotypes, but it's not done in a clever way. It's just like, hey, the dragon isn't regal. He's like an Italian mob guy, but it just falls flat, and
then they keep saying it over and over, like every time the dragon talks, White's like, wow, that's not what a dragon's supposed to sound like. Isn't that weird? Haha, LOL, OMG. That's funny, right?
Yeah, this has a, like, early preteen flavor to it that I just can't get down with, which was really one of my main critiques of this, which is tough, right? Because it's this is a book that's not written for me, and I acknowledge that. This isn't something I was probably ever going to like, just because of the style. Like, I have no interest in reading the overexcited musings of a nearly immortal 12-year-old that's high on power. Like, I don't care. And
very not entertaining.
Yeah, it didn't do it for me. But the other thing that really killed this for me is the other aspect of the writing style, which is that it is written as though you are reading the log of things that happen in a video game. Chris, I think your note explains it really well, so I'll let you take that away.
I mean, I just compared it to Brick by Brick.
Yeah.
The one we read, which was literally a step-by-step recollection of someone playing through Super Mario Brothers 3, which was painfully boring to read. And this is the same thing, except it has a little bit more of that, as you said, sort of small child flavoring, in which it kind of sounds like like an 8-year-old ran up to you and has all his action figures in his hands, and he's like, this is the Ninja Turtle, and he was fighting Shredder, but then the Power Rangers came in and they all tried to punch each other a lot, but then they had a bazooka, so the army came in and they all had a bunch of robots, and the robots exploded the Power Rangers' head. But it's okay because the Power Rangers were immortal anyway. They weren't dead or anything. And then they all went, and there was a big bomb, and the bomb was in the robot, and they punched the robot, and they were scared because they thought the bomb would go off. But then the bomb didn't go off because the Power Ranger had his super weapon.
Honey, that sounds so interesting. I'm so glad you had such a good time with your toys today.
Yes, that's exactly the how I was responding to every other sentence in this book.
Yeah, I mean, and it's not even...
wow.
Well, and there's another dimension of boredom here, because not only do you get... And then the Spider-Man kicked the Power Ranger, you get... The Spider-Man had a strength stat of 12, and it was against the Power Ranger strength stat of 12 and a half, and then he had his, level 15 greatsword, and you're just like, oh my fucking god. I mean, look, I'm sure that Chris and I do have conversations that resemble this whenever we talk about Elden Ring to someone else who's also playing 100%. Elden Ring.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's the key part.
But do we make it a novel that we make other people fucking read? No, we do not.
Yeah, the fact that there's stat blocks in here, Paris. There's in the middle of some chapters there'll be a stat block for a tank or a fighter jet or I don't know.
It's literally else. A page out of a dungeon master's manual, and it's this is how much life the tank has, and these are all the details. I'm this
but
is
then
a
half
novel.
of them are just error because it's so overpowered. Don't you understand? Right. We can't even measure. So why did you fucking put it? You just say it's really powerful, dude. Listen, as someone who has DM'd and has read all the stat blocks and had a little bit of fun, she was ooh, I'll give up this sword, or I'll see if I can put this potion in there. If I'm sitting down for a story, that's not what I want.
No, it's not the way to tell a story, that's for sure. It's very different when you are playing a video game and participating and making those choices, and you are alone most of the time. That is fine when you are by yourself and you are in a game menu and being okay, I'm gonna choose this thing, whatever, and we're gonna see how it works. But
the interactivity is key for why I care about a stat block.
Right.
The fact that I can do something with it.
Yeah, and when you're just reading about it in what's supposed to be a novel, it just doesn't work. Does not work.
I gotta wonder if this shit's in the anime too. They just roll up. I mean, that's Dragon Ball Z did the same shit with their Power Scouters or whatever, so I'm sure it's in there.
Were you making me randomly watch episodes of Naruto?
No, that was Yu-Gi-Oh! Paris. How dare you get it confused?
Dude, I don't remember. One of the fucking...
This is one time Paris, a couple of times Paris came over here, and I just wanted to sort of give her brain the vague impression of what anime is like. So I was just skip through episodes of Yu-Gi-Oh! 1 minute at a time and give you just the briefest glimpse of what's going on out there. And hopefully that just sunk in somewhere deep in your brain. You have a vague understanding of what these kinds of animes are like.
Yeah, I hate it. I hate it a lot. So anyway, even if you are into anime, manga, whatever, I just don't know that this book even works for those audiences because of this heavy reliance on like stat blocks and repetitive inner monologue of this one character. I don't know.
I think it depends on the type of weeb we're talking about here, Paris, because, I mean, we should tread lightly here. Quite a few of our fans seem to have the weeby smell about them. I'm just going to put that out there. But, yeah, so I think there's plenty of what you and I probably share an opinion of good anime out there. And I don't think you've seen the depths of bad anime that I might have experienced.
No, I actually thought anime was stupid and bad until I was 18 and I saw Grave of the Fireflies and I was like, oh, this can be a real movie.
It can be rad, right?
Yeah. And then years later, I saw like Princess Mononoke, The Cat
There
Returns.
it is. That's the one I was going to say.
The Cat Returns is great. I think that one gets overlooked sometimes.
I would be happy to show Princess Mononoke to anybody, no matter what they like. That is such a good movie. It's got such a cool, like, fairy tale vibe about it, but that kind of, like, dark tinged fairy tale that your parents might tell you, like, once you're old enough and you're not too scared of things and you can still, like, feel the tension in things.
Yeah, I mean, it's like Howl's Moving Castle is great, too, and has a similar vibe.
Sure.
As does, Spirited Away.
We're just saying Studio Ghibli stuff.
Yeah, like, well, I think The Cat Returns isn't Studio Ghibli, but all the rest of and is Grave of the Fireflies?
I don't think so. I've never seen that one.
No, that's a very serious one about World War II. But
Akira is cool. I like me some Akira. I'm even down with some Berserk, even though that kind of falls into the sort
Berserk's
of
good.
Berserk is rad. So listen, we're not anime haters. That's not really what we are. It's just that there's this half of it that is just like, I don't know how to describe this, Paris, but I had this problem with anime for a while, and I'm going to do my best to articulate what it is about like anime voice that I don't like the way that some animes present their stories. So I'm going to put it to you this way, and I'm probably going to make so many people mad right now when I say this. I watched the Netflix adaptation of Cowboy Bebop with my partner, and it wasn't amazing TV, but it was enjoyable and entertaining. And then once we were done, my partner was like, oh, what's the anime like? So I was like, I remember watching it and being kind of into it when I was like 13. So I popped on the first episode, and we were fucking instantly bored in 10 minutes. Because there's something about being so on the nose about everything in some animes. And Cowboy Bebop is by far not the worst example of this at all. It's just something about like the way the dubbing was done back then, or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure we'll have subs and dubs people in here in just a second. But there's this thing that happens in some animes where like a character will have like this inner monologue in their head, overtly explaining all of their immediate emotions that aren't very nuanced at all. Just like, oh, he has the sword that is more powerful than me. I have no chance against this sword. I must think of a way to defeat him at this moment, or else I do lose everything.
That. Yes, I do also hate that explicitly. That whole, like, we are going to present everything right up front to you, and it will be very obvious, and you do not have to think at all. Like, I really hate that style.
Just
in
like,
anything. In anything.
Just,
though.
like, show me that character, like, with emotion on their face, and I will interpret that with my own nuance and subtlety. You don't have to have an inner monologue explaining every last thing that happened. Now, for some shows where there's, like, intricate plot lines and, like, people's plans against plans, sure, explain your elaborate plan and everything like that. It's just the sort of, it's like the narration style or the inner monologue stuff that you hear, or you can hang back, you can let the animation tell a story, which is why stuff like Princess Mononoke is so cool. You don't get a lot of that. You get a lot of just like emotive moments, and you don't get people overtly saying every last bit of emotion or particular explaining the web of relationships that are there for me overtly. I just can't get down with it.
Well, yeah, so I completely agree with you, but I really feel like this extends to all media. I hate this in every every style of
absolutely.
media. I do not want a movie that's going to spoon feed me. I don't want a book that's going to spoon feed me. Like, I don't want those things. I want there to be some kind of puzzle or something I have to pay attention to. And you know, of course, there are forms of media that are just for kind of shutting your brain off, and that's fine. But in general, I want to have to engage somehow mentally. When I want to shut my brain off, sure, there are things I might go to, but in general, I would agree with you, and it's not really just a problem with anime. It's a problem with a lot of different
I
movies.
agree with you, but I think it's particularly bad in a certain subset of anime. And again, I am not saying this is like anime wide. I am saying that your average anime that I might flip on has the style, especially if it's like your shonen style. We all got to get stronger and fight and train together, and I'm going to have a speech about how my determination or my friends are the thing that, like, which, by the way, this book doesn't even do. It doesn't even have the, like, I'll get my friends together and we can overcome anything, like, rousing speech that you hear when, you know, again, the shonen anime protagonist is ready to fight the big bad or whatever. We don't even get that. White, like, gets her brain evaporated by a bazooka, like, the whole thing, and she's fine later. So what do I care about anything in this book if she's just gonna be fine?
Well, but this is a common problem we talk about in a lot of books we read, where you sense that there's no real consequence, like nothing bad is ever going to happen to the main character or their entourage, or like, you know, there's never, there's never any real consequence to anything. There's never a real feeling of danger. And I mean, certainly in this book, I mean, everyone is massively overpowered, nigh immortal. And so it's just boring because you're like, well, there's no way they're going to be killed. They aren't, so
I guess the vague stakes here is that the continent might blow up, but when, as far as I know about the continent, is that it's just a big wide open plain to have your anime fights in. I don't really care if it gets blown up.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, and there's even a part in this. So you earlier were talking about how this really just feels like a little kid running up to you, like maybe like somewhere between 5 and 8. With action figures and being like, and then they did this. And there was a moment in the book where I was like, okay, maybe that is actually going to be the reveal at the end. Like, maybe they're actually going to be like, this was kids playing with action figures. Because there is a point in the book where the main character, Lady White, is like, haha, I stabbed him in the dick and then I made a butthole in him. And I was like... okay, this really is a transcription of 2 7-year-olds playing with action figures. Like, if at the end they were like, and then Bobby and Timmy went to school, I'd be like, yeah, totally, fine. This makes total sense. This all wraps up perfectly, neat little bow. That would have been funny, and I would have accepted it. But, like, you can't make me read about how they're having a fight and the main character wants to humiliate the bad guy, so she stabs him in the dick and then makes him a butthole in the cyborg ass part of his body. It's just
listen, everyone already knows that anime cyborgs already have pre-installed buttholes. It's just how it works. He didn't need another one.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, it's very unclear. Like, the extent of his cyborgness is very unclear. I mean, it seems like it might just be his head that is human at this point. I don't really know. Yeah.
So yeah, there's no stakes to anything. So Paris, can I interrupt again with how there's absolutely no stakes to anything, and even when there is stakes, it doesn't matter?
Yeah.
So like that point where they're fighting the big bad robot, the final boss, which they literally refer to as the final boss.
Yes.
And they're like, the stakes in that moment are like, oh no, if we hit it too hard, the grandma bomb might blow up on us. But then White just cuts it in half with her scythe anyway, and turns out it's fine. The bomb didn't go off, and she can just eat it and become a god. So, like, no big problem whatsoever. So even the minuscule stakes that were there, they didn't even have to work around that at all.
Right.
So
I mean,
what's the point?
Yeah, and that's how I felt for the whole book. It was like, I don't know, this book just wasn't for me on so many levels that I had a really bad time reading it. I did some hard skimming. I am usually not a skimmer, but this was...
So I'm a skimmer. So what?
So I'm a skimmer. What are you going to do? Remember, I know your sister. Doesn't matter if I'm a skimmer. What are you going to do? What are you going to do if your sister disappears, huh?
Whoa, is that a threat? What the fuck?
Find out on the next episode, huh?
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I'll back off. You can skim all you want, sir. I'm sorry.
That's right. You don't mess. You don't mess with the wind dragons, my friend.
I know you have the Giga Massachusetts bomb, so I'll just back off from here. You know, I don't have anything that can counter that.
Yeah, you need to respect the mass energy.
Okay. Sorry. Yeah. I'll go back to New Hampshire.
Yeah, that's right. Go back to New Hampshire, where you can live free and die.
You don't want to find the NH energy. That world is completely off the wall. Nothing is in working order.
Just fucking chaos forest up there. Not in a good
There's
way.
No
it's not a good chaos forest. It's bad. Sorry, friends that live in New Hampshire. I don't like your state. It's a bad time. Anyway.
Okay, who else are we alienating this episode?
Oh yeah, let's just alienate
We're
everyone.
Hot and mad.
Yeah. Hot and mad. Anyway, yeah, I was having trouble figuring out who this book was for, because even for me, who can remember being a child who liked video games and read books, I was like, this would not be interesting to me as a child. I don't know about... I don't know, maybe it would be interesting to kids, but I get the sense that the series isn't targeted towards kids. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. I just don't understand who this is for. If it's for children, maybe, but it's also not very good. There's plenty of other children's literature that's better than this, and I don't get it.
How about I read some 5-star Amazon reviews to get an inside look at who's into this book?
I mean, go for it. Yeah. What do these 5-star reviews say? I'm interested to know.
5 stars from Dante McNeil, Non-Stop Action. Things are heating up with this latest volume. I know I'm sounding like a broken record, but Okina Baba does it again. Volume 7 sees the team up of people who you would never think would associate with one another. I mean, a demon lord, Dustin, Protemus, the antagonist leader of the elves, and White, or Shiro, whichever you prefer, our OP spider. Sure, it's an all-star team, but given the fact that they're all pretty much each other's enemies, you'd never expect to see them working together. Oh my god, this is just a summary of what happens in here. I'm not going to read the rest of that.
Oh.
He's just excited that the characters are working together.
Yeah, I guess maybe it's possible that maybe the earlier books, you know, roped people in with some kind of character development and people got into them, and by book 7 it just sucks. I mean, that's also possible.
5 stars from Carm. 5 stars. I like White. I'm not going to into any potential spoilers, but this was quite a White-driven book. I really liked it. We didn't have any of the jumping around in time between various story threads. This was a big drive-up in a large confrontation that covered our MC. There was a lot of narrative/mental prose going on, so while at times that slowed things down, but that's also how White operates in her minds. The ending, though, damn, what happens next? Yeah, book 8 is already downloaded.
Okay.
I've gained no insight besides he likes the Spider Lady. I think it's 5 stars because Spider Lady.
Perhaps. I mean, I feel like K-Log really spawned a lot of Spider Lady fetishists, so perhaps that is now a thing.
Okay. 5 stars from Mr. D Hunter. 5 stars. Good book. My son has collected all available and loves them.
Okay. I'm okay. Judging by the reviews, maybe this is for actual children, in which case I'm like less mad about it. But I don't know.
Okay, last one. 5 stars from Kindle Customer. It's still Spider. Not only does this volume deliver on ample amounts of actions, it also manages to simultaneously remind and further establish extraordinary amounts of character development, world building, mixtures of the two, and memorable interactions between characters. Loved this volume, and I'm 99% satisfied with it. That missing 1% can be found in what I found to be at least 4 typos, grammatical syntax errors.
Yeah, that's true. There were very few technical writing errors.
Okay, so apparently there was extraordinary character development and world building and combinations of the two, Paris. Did you catch any of that? Because I fucking did not.
No, not really. I mean, all that we got for character development is that the main character is, like a teenage girl would be, obsessed with whether or not her very cool lady friend likes her and thinks she's her friend. And by the end, she's like, oh my god, I think we're friends because she, tried to save my life. That is
character development.
All we got there. I feel like a fucking Sweet Valley High book has more character development than this
It does, though. It really does, though. I will back that statement.
Oh, man. Yeah, so anyway, can we fix it, Chris? Can we fix it?
I don't know. I stopped watching shonen-style anime when I was, 17, and I'm just not for anything that's mostly about people having fights and making speeches about their determination or the bonds of friendship or whatever. And if I want mindless combat, I'll play a video game or play D&D with friends, so at least there's a fun interactive element and I can feel some tension. I mean, but if you did want that, if that's what you want, you can't have your characters be functionally immune to damage if the whole story is just fights. Or else it doesn't matter. If you can have your brain disintegrate and then come back from that, I don't care how big the grab-on bomb is. And you need more tension at the very least. That's my one suggestion. And I guess, okay, at the end of this book, her powers are taken away, but I read this whole book where she was overpowered, so that makes this one a bad one. So
well, and it's her powers are taken away, but only in the service of giving her different, really, really powerful powers where she's now a god. So I mean, for me, maybe this could be cool to some people if it was written with any depth. It is very not for me in several respects that I already explained. But, I could see evil mecha elves fighting other fantasy creatures working if there was a more compelling reason for their fighting and if this wasn't written like a play-by-play of a video game. All the stats video game talk is what really brings this book down for me. And ultimately, I don't really know who this is for, except for maybe, elementary school children or middle schoolers, maybe. And even then, there's so much other lit for those age ranges that I think is better. I just agree. This is very much just like Chris said, it's really like someone just wrote down kids playing with their action figures. It doesn't do it for me in the narrative or conceptual sense. Sorry, Okina Baba. I don't know. Maybe the books before this are good. Maybe you have other series that are good, but it's very not for me.
Thorough thumbs down.
Yeah.
Thorough thumbs down. All right, well, Paris, we had a bad time with this, but as I mentioned before in the episode, I have a gift for you to lighten the mood.
Oh, all right. What's your gift?
Before we end the episode, I have yet another guessing game for you, Paris. We haven't done this in a while.
God, yeah, it's been ages since we've guessed a game on TBC. I know listeners like these, so good on you for remembering.
Hey, I've prepared 3 rounds this time. The guessing game is guess the fake anime character name.
Oh, fuck. I'm going to be so bad at this. All right.
So each of these rounds is a set of characters from a specific anime. I will reveal the anime at the end after you guess the name. Because, I mean, it doesn't really matter, actually, but I think it's more fun to say the anime after the fact.
I think it's going to be even funnier when you ask me to guess names in animes I've definitely seen, but that I don't remember the names from, and it'll be really embarrassing.
I'm pretty sure you haven't seen these animes. One of them you probably know about, you know of its existence.
Okay.
But you probably don't know any of these character names from this anime.
All right.
Okay. 3 rounds. There will be.
This is Paris must guess the anime name.
You have to guess the one I made up. There's
sorry.
There's going to be 4 names. 3 of them are actual characters from one anime series, and the last one I will have made up.
Okay, so I have to guess the fake anime name.
Yes, correct.
Okay.
Okay, round 1. Your 4 character names are Raditz, Vegeta, Brusselt, and Garlic Jr.
Okay. All right. Do I have any options available to me, like phone a friend or 50-50 or whatever the fuck the other option was on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire?
one of these I will allow a 50-50. For another like Lifeline style thing, I will tell you the name of the anime, which will not help you, but I think that's funny.
Okay, I think it'd be way funnier if you gave me a phone a friend, because I don't know who the fuck I would call.
Yeah, who are we going to call in the middle of this?
Yeah, it would be you is the person I would call. That's not fair at all. So no. Maybe I would call Adam. Like, Adam, help me out of this jam.
He would know the answer to this one.
Anyway, okay. So I am pretty sure that was it Raditz and Vegeta. I think those are real. So I'm only contending with Russelt and what was the other one?
Brusselt.
Okay. And what was the other one?
Garlic Jr.
Really hard. I'm gonna say that Brusselt is the fake anime name in this selection.
Paris, you are correct. Yes! Brusselt is the fake anime name. These are all characters from Dragon Ball Z.
Yes, I knew the first 2 were, but I did not know anything about the garlic one.
Which are all a lot of characters in that series are named after vegetables. So you got like Nappa, named after the cabbage. Yep. You've got Raditz, named after a radish. There's like apparently the character Broly is named after broccoli, but I don't fucking believe that.
Yeah, that's weird.
All right.
Yay!
So you got 1 of 3 rounds. If you get another round of the last 2, I'll consider this a win on your part.
I don't think I have ever won any of these games, so it would be a big deal if I won.
I agree. All right, Paris, are you ready for round 2 of Guess the Fake Anime Character Name?
Oh, I am ready for round 2.
Okay, your 4 names are Caesar Clown, Ronald Clamor, Monkey D. Luffy, and Jesus Burgess.
Christ.
No, Jesus Burgess.
Yeah, Jesus Burgess. I don't have a fucking clue.
Repeat the names in a different order if that would help you.
Yeah, you just repeat them again in the same order. That's fine.
Okay, same order. Caesar Clown, Ronald Clamor, Monkey D. Luffy, and Jesus Burgess.
This is... I'm going to get this one wrong. I really have no idea. This is going to be... Okay, sorry. I would like to use one of my lifelines.
Okay, you can use the 50-50 on this one.
Okay, I would like to use 50-50, please. Please eliminate 2 answers that are incorrect.
Okay. Your remaining answers are Jesus Burgess and Ronald Clamor.
Okay.
Monkey D. Luffy and Caesar Clown are real names.
Okay, I figured the monkey was real. I was waffling on the clown. I wasn't totally sure, so I'm glad I did this. Okay, so it's Jesus Burgess
and Ronald Clamor.
Ronald Clamor. Could you spell clamor for me?
Clammer.
All right, I'm going to say Jesus Burgess is made up.
Paris, you are incorrect. Ronald Clamor is the made-up anime character name.
I almost... You know what made me change my mind?
What?
Is the spelling. Because it was stupid, I was like, oh, it's probably real. Because if it was actually spelled clamor, like a clamor, like you know, like a lot of noise, I would have been like, oh, that's made up. But because it had the stupid spelling, you tricked me well.
Mm-hmm. These are all characters, except for Ronald Clamor, of course, from the anime One Piece, which is about Monkey D. Luffy and his crew of pirates that sail the seas looking for the One Piece, the treasure, the biggest pirate treasure there is. It has something like 900 chapters long at this point and is continuing to run. I looked at the character name list for this anime. There are hundreds, Paris. There are hundreds and hundreds, perhaps 1,000 or two characters. Okay, so Paris, you're 1-1 here, which is exciting because that means that this round is all the marbles. It's all the anime marbles here.
Oh, there's actual consequences. What's going to happen to me if I don't win this?
You'll get turned into a spider, so what?
I don't want to be half a spider.
But you'll be, like, functionally immortal.
Yeah, but immortality sucks if you're half a spider.
Does it?
Yeah, I mean, for me personally,
Okay,
I just
right.
don't want to have a lower half of a spider. I'm good.
All right. Well, you better do well on this one then. Okay, round 3. Your 4 anime names are Robert E.O. Speedwagon, Ton Petty, as one word, Dio Brando, and the Dewey Brothers.
So it was Robert E.O. Speedwagon, and then what was it? It was Tom? It wasn't Tom Petty, it was what?
Ton Petty. Tonpetty, all is one word.
Oh, Ton Petty, okay. And then the third one was...
Dio Brando, as in Robert James Dio, but Dio Brando.
Oh, you mean, not Dio, yeah, anyway.
Yes, Dio.
Like Dio and Martin Brando combined or something.
Yes.
I'm gonna say the Dewey Brothers is the fake one.
Paris,
Yes.
you are correct. You have won the anime fake name guessing game.
Yes!
You managed to pick out my fake anime name. These are all characters from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, which has very rock and roll themed names. There's like the Zappelli brothers are part of this. There's a couple other references, and like people have like these ghosts that, you know, they use to fight people that are often named after musical things. There's like Killer Queen is one of them, I think.
Clever.
But Paris, congratulations. You don't have to become a spider, so what?
Oh, I'm so glad. I really did not want to become half a spider.
You've done it. You've avoided that fate. Thank you for participating in my fake anime name guessing game.
Oh my god, Chris, I never thought this day would come. I never thought I'd win one of these guessing games.
On the anime one, too. Fantastic anime instinct.
That's very surprising.
I so for sure thought you would go for Robert E.O. Speedwagon as the fake one.
No. I chose the Dewey Brothers because isn't that the name of the brothers from that movie? Oh, fuck, that comedy movie?
I don't know what you're thinking. I was thinking of the Doobie Brothers.
Oh, okay. Well, it was an accident of logic that I I chose the correct one.
Whatever, take the victory.
Yeah, I'm gonna take the victory. All right. Yeah, I don't know. Do I have time for a speech, like a quick one?
Oh, I'm sure. I didn't realize you had a speech prepared, but
well, I don't. But I would just really like to thank all of our listeners, both weeb and unweeb alike, for putting up with us and our general hatred of things that you love. Really appreciate.
We love you guys.
Really appreciate it. Love you. Thank you.
Whether you have the weeb smell upon thee or not. Thank you, Dari, Greg, Veronica, Will, D, Jared, Arant, Senya, Yakub, Lycoris, Elliot, Kieran, Martin, Luchek, Miri, Yanka, David, Anya, Patricia, Austin, Donnie, Crimson Paladin, Beast with the Least, Scott H, Robin, Laxtodes, Of the Void, the Taco Eating Unicorn, Last Man on Earth 01, our Ko-fi donor Kiwi Thing, and finally our 3 newest patrons. That's right, 3 hopped on since the last time we recorded. We have Funny Robot with Antennas, Hobby Boy 93, and Selena. Thank you all so much for keeping this podcast going. I appreciate you. Paris appreciates you.
All right. Anyway, I think that's the end of this for me. Or I don't know, Chris, do you have any final words on So I'm a Spider? So what?
So I'm hot and sad and mad. So what? You gonna do something about it?
Yeah, I'm gonna maybe we'll have a little fan break before we record the next episode.
I agree.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think that's it for this episode, Chris. I will see you next week for another ridiculous
in 2 weeks.
book.
2 weeks. We do it every 2 weeks.
I will see. Sorry, the heat is making me crazy.
Yeah.
I will see you. God, if
time
this was
is dilating.
if this was every week, I could not have. I could not have a job. I think this would have to be my job.
Yes.
So.
All right, everyone, go do your weeby business. So what? We'll see you later.
Go forth and weeb until next time. Thank you for listening to another episode of Terrible Book Club. Terrible Book Club is an independent podcast produced by your hosts, Paris and Chris. Sound design and audio editing by Chris, with sound effects and music by Epidemic Sound and sometimes also Chris. Our theme song is Kiss by Yearn, which is, you guessed it, actually also Chris. You can find more of his soothing synthy sounds on Bandcamp at yearn.bandcamp.com. Do you want us to review a book of your choice on the show? Do you want access to some extra audiovisual weirdness? If so, become a patron at patreon.com/terriblebookclub. If you'd like to send us a one-time tip instead, you can do that at ko-fi.com/terriblebookclub. You can also support TBC for free by sharing the show on social media, following our accounts on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, or Goodreads, telling your friends about your favorite episode, or by leaving a review on Apple Podcasts, Podchaser, or anywhere else on the internet. To send us book recommendations or your adorable pet photos, send an email to terriblebookclub@gmail.com.